Hi there. I'm a little bit early, but I wanted to make sure that I had everything figured out so that I don't have any problems like I had problems last time. So I've got both. That's YouTube's and that's Facebook. So hi everybody. I gotta look at the camera. So the camera's right there. If I'll wait for people to show up because I wasn't scheduled till 5, but I'm here a little bit early, so let's see if we can get. I'm gonna put a comment. Hi, I'm early. Do you see me and hear me? Question mark. So if you see this, reply to me. Do you see me and hear me? Let me see if I got any comments. Live chat, all messages are visible. Okay. Okay, so I am going to just wait here with you guys and wait. I'll do some, what is it, elevator music. Dun 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 pretend you're in an elevator. It's a little bit of elevator music while we're waiting. But this is great. This is the first time that I had both platforms going at once, which is awesome. I'm very happy. It's very cool. Make that a little bit like that. So whoever's the first in and able to tell me that you see me, that is great. I can see the board, so if I need to actually draw, but I don't have a pen here. There is no. We'll draw in your mind. So, very cool. I do hear the fan going a little bit, but it's not too loud. It's not that big of a deal. So, anyone who's the first to see me, it's 4:56 minutes early. So, what will I do while we wait? Wait. When I pull up my pants, although I'm sitting. Look at my phone today. It was outside. It was broken, but it's like the monocle. Does it work? No, it doesn't work very well. Let's see if I can get it. Who was this? Who would say this? Hogan's Heroes. What was the what did he say? He would wear the monocle. Oh, I'm so angry. He was German. Schultz, I remember the big fat guy, Schultz. I loved him when I was a little kid. And when I heard that he had died, I cried. I think probably because he reminded me of my dad. My dad wasn't as fat as he was, but my dad had a mustache and I know nothing. I remember him But I think as a little kid, he was the very first person that I had ever heard that had died, person that I knew or knew of. And I remember crying. I remember being sad to me, which is, I think I found out about death. I think I also remember the first dog that we had was, they were Scotty dogs. They were twin dogs. One was McGregor. Apparently he was really mean. Mean black little Scotty dog. And then the other one was Molly. And I think I really loved Molly. I don't remember them very well. I was really young, but I think I remember seeing a dead dog in a black garbage bag. And that was another death thing. Why am I talking about death? I don't know. But those are one of the things that are healing stuff too, which is finding out about death, finding out about your own death, other people's, realizing that death is life. Some people say, you don't really know, you don't really live until you lose something. You don't really love something until you lose something. It's kind of true. So it's 4:59 here. One more minute. And we'll see if anyone shows up. It's 5. I was scheduled at 5, but here it is, 5. Ding! 5 o'clock. Someone's drinking somewhere. We're not drinking. We are YouTubing and Facebooking and living. So this is the Q&A. Welcome. This is Jason Eagle, Strategic Healing, your natural health authority. And this is the second time doing it. And this time it's really working. So who is here? Who can tell me? Who can give me a little comment and say, I see you, I hear you. Katie. Where's Katie? Katie usually is really good at this and tell me that she sees me. And we're going to wait for people to show up. Some people on Facebook that said they were going to be here were some high school friends, which said maybe, and that's really exciting. You know how it is, you seeing old people again. So if you're here, if anyone's here, tell me you see me. Let me see what this means. Invite friends to watch. And then we got over here. I don't see any thumbs up or anything like that. So it says I'm live. So here is the live question and answer. And I didn't really get a whole lot of early questions. Last time I did have some early questions. And let's kind of recap what the last one was about, the last Q&A. So I was late getting to my office, so I was on the road, and it was really fuzzy in and out. And I started out with talking about ethnic foods. What are some of the great ethnic foods? One of the big things is starches. These blue zones, which is these Longarian places, people that live 100 years plus, the most 100 years plus, or 80s, 90s, and they're still walking around and everything. What's the most common thing? One, fish, but not all of them have fish. It's the fat, fish fat. So fat is the most important thing. You got a fat head, you got a fat brain. That's what your body is fat. We store fat. We have chubby baby fat. Fat is the most important nutrient in the body. It's the most important nutrient we can get out there. But the second most important thing in terms of what the body really likes, what makes the body age slowly, keeps inflammation down, is starches. starches. And so the Okinawans, 80% of their caloric intake is rice. The Polynesians, you've got taro and cassava and all this other stuff. Go to the Asian market and it's the weird ones. Oh, it looks like we've got one. I think I see a one eye. That means one person's watching. If you see me, type in and tell me that you see me. If you're somebody on Facebook, or this is Facebook. Hi, Facebook. This is YouTube's. Hi, YouTube's. If anybody sees me, tell me that you see me, because I'm not getting any comments yet. All messes are visible. Okay. Oh, good. Katie sent a message. She sent a text message. I see you. Hi. Okay, good. Okay, so recap a little bit. I was talking about starches. So life is an adventure. Food is an adventure. The popularity of all of these food shows, like, I was born in 1969, and the only mushrooms we had was mushrooms in a can, and the only asparagus we had was asparagus in a can, and all kinds of these foods that we now kind of take for granted, the restaurants that we go to, the gastropubs, but all of the shows of all of these great exotic foods that we as Americans are getting exposed to. And like I said, one of the greatest adventures is going to like an Asian market or going to a Mexican market or something like that and seeing these weird, like the big taro roots or the big cassava. It's like, God, what do you do with those? They look weird. You cook them like a potato. You eat them like a potato. And starches are really, really good for your gut because they're very slow in terms of releasing sugars, very slow in terms of the digestive process. And in fact, while they're going through your intestines, even when they are in your large intestines, until they almost turn into a waste product, your body is still extracting nutrients out of them. So, and then they have a lot of fiber. And the big thing has always been fiber, okay? But now we notice that there's categories to fiber. There's prebiotic fiber, there's probiotic fiber, and there's postbiotic fiber. Pre, that, and post. So before, what that all kind of refers to is pre means previous or the beginning. So there are fibers that are basically the setup for, let's get into fibers. What are fibers all about? So first of all, they create good bowel health because it helps you to pack a good poop. Okay, so again, if you're having constipation issues, one of the things that they, increase the dietary fibers, because kind of like packing a snowball, if it's too fluffy, then the snowball doesn't pack, and if it's too wet, it doesn't. So just the right packing snow makes the right snowball. So if you think about food that has to then turn into a good, well-formed log of poop, and people that are offended by this, like, hello, like this is what I do. This is what I talk about. So like, if you got a problem, get over it. So fiber is a number of different things. So first of all, it's about so that you can have a good, healthy elimination, because your guts need something to grab onto in order for the peristaltic action of the tubes to go. The tubes, they kind of go like a caterpillar, like a snake undulating. As food goes through, it goes in and it opens up and then it closes down behind it, which is that opening up and then going over the food and then squeezing down is what moves it along, moves the train along. And so the fiber is enough so that it has something to kind of grab onto. But then if you really understand too about the whole gut ecology, here's a little thing that people didn't know. Okay, there's me, and there's my cells. Here's my nose, here's my skin, here's my hair, my beard hair, this is my flesh. And then if I go inside my body, there's my flesh, okay? And that's all made out of my cells, which are the DNA of my cells. We could like in forensic science, which is, we want to find out who murdered this person. We test the blood and you can see the forensics, which is basically the DNA of you. Okay, well, let's look at, if you took your body and you basically, like on a table, you just took your cells and you spread out all the DNA that's in you. Well, you got other things that, you got little worms that live in your eyelids. You got all these little things that live in your skin. You got all of these animals, and then you got bacteria. You have the good, that's probiotics. You got living probiotics, living organisms, okay? So your gut is really made out of all of these organisms. If you want to call aliens, they really are aliens. Well, if you were to calculate, okay, how much of me and how much of them is there? Oh, it looks like my sister's here. Hi. Hi, Tara. That's my sister. Yay, and she gave me some love. Awesome. Love to you. Okay, so what we now know is there are more of them than they are of you. And in fact, and then there's Linda Davis. Hi, Linda Davis. Wonderful. Good to see you. There are more of them that you are outnumbered. And if you took all of the cells of your gut, which is the microbiome, okay? If you took which is actually your brain, it's more of your brain. And it's more of your digestive process. You eat, you chew food, you secrete saliva, that's an enzymatic reaction, but that's a whole bunch of probiotics. It's a whole bunch. So the parotid glands and the salivary glands, they actually are the glands that grow these bacterias, and not even bacteria. There's a whole host of all different types of living forms. And from the very start, they start doing the job for you. So it's understood there's trillions of cells of your body, of your own cells, but there are trillions more of them in your gut than there are of you. And thank God for them, because they do the job for you. You think they're hitching a ride on you, you're hitching a ride on them, and what do they feed on? It's just the same thing as like soil probiotics. It looks like that Shannon or somebody else. Hi, thumbs up. Wonderful. Okay, so what we understand about your gut is the same kind of idea of what you understand about the soil. You want to grow good plants. So if you, like the guys that have really made a really astounding leap forward on understanding this is the pot growers. The pot growers, Carol, she's listening at work. It's our little secret. It's out now. So like the soil, we understand that what's called the mycorrhizome, or the mushrooms, they create microtubules in the ground. They're the ones that actually dissolve the little rocks that are the sand and the dirt, that then turn it into a liquid form of nutrients or minerals, and then the little root structures of the plants, they're the ones that absorb the nutrients and then take it up into the plant. Well, what's really good, healthy living soil, and again, the pot growers, the ones that really went the forefront of this, which is the more organisms that you grow in the dirt, the more bioavailable and in fact energetic, because they are electromagnetic beings just like you are, which is they create this electric magnetic resonance, this life force, this Star Wars life force in the ground. And they actually pull, they make like sunshine under the ground. The plants bring sunshine down in, but what's going up from below. So the same analogy is true about your guts, which is, if you're talking about the soil, you have to have a certain amount of cellulose that's in there in order for these little things to grow on. And so the prebiotics are basically kind of like it's like the nursery. You have to have a nursery. And so in the upper gut, as you go past the duodenum and you start to go into the small intestine, you've got and all along your digestive tract, You change pH. It's very acid in your stomach. It's little hydrochloric acid, but then it turns into a base, which is it turns alkaline, and then it goes acid again, and alkaline and acid, and all along these pathway. It's like the Amazon River, exactly like the Amazon River, or like these big rivers. The Amazon's a perfect example because I've never been to the Amazon, but this is what they tell me is as you go along, there's different villages, and there's different, as you come into certain bends, there's whole different villages of people that live there, and they speak different languages. Some of them are headhunters, some of them are not headhunters, and some of them, like, they may be a mile apart and they've never talked. They've never met each other because everything in their little part of the forest that they live in, they have everything that they need, okay? And they eat certain different things. Well, your gut is the same exact way. And so prebiotics are the things where these little organisms that are kind of like the nursery type of thing, they grow on, like if you talk about mushrooms, they're what's called primary decomposers, secondary decomposers, and tertiary decomposers, which is all stages. There's certain life forms that when it's not fully broken down, these guys go to work. When it's halfway broken down, these guys go to work. When it's fully broken down, these guys go to work. So in our gut, these fibers feed these different types of organisms that all do different types of jobs. And one of the best feedings for them is all these different types of fibers, like I said, from the starches, cassava and all this other stuff. One of my other videos, tiger nuts, these amazing little crunchy nuts. They're actually not a nut, they're like a bean, they're like a legume. Super sweet, but they are a prebiotic fiber. Okay, so I'm talking about that. So getting fibers in are really, really helpful for your gut ecology, but it's not just your gut ecology. This is your brain. Think about your gut ecology as actually your brain. So most people want to fix their brain. You want to think better. You want to have better emotions and this type of stuff. Question, are prebiotics different for person to person based upon each individual DNA? Yes, kind of, but that's what I'm talking about in terms of experimenting. You know, throughout history, everybody has gotten some exotic foods. And you may have like what you're indigenous to, what you're used to, but getting exposed to different things. DNA is really based upon biodiversity. So the thing that, if you get a kid that like, ugh, they don't like eating that. I hated raw tomatoes when I was a kid. Something changed, and now I like raw tomatoes. I love raw tomatoes. You change. So going back to the individual DNA, your individual changes, and you can change the DNA by exposing it to things. And that's what I'm saying. Is we need to challenge our DNA, because when we challenge our DNA, we actually open up what was called junk genes. With the early geneticist says, we found a bunch of junk genes. They just don't know what it is. They're not junk genes. They are absolutely different. Best way I can describe it is you have every single X-Men inside of you. You have every single human being inside of you. Each cell of your body has each DNA, which every cell, so my skin cell is programmed to be a skin cell, and my eyelash hair is a little bit different from my head hair, is a little different from the pubic hair. It's, all different types of things. And they're all based upon which section of the DNA that it copies, and then it does. Well, so each cell is literally a page from an encyclopedia of every cell of your body. So you could literally take every cell and make a whole body, every single cell out of that. But not only that, you could take every single one of your cells and take every human being and make that out of one person, because it's stored within inside that. What was called the Akashic record of every single thing that could be known is known. It's in and what our DNA is actually, it's a radio tower. Essentially, it's a radio frequency. So like they talk about an ancestral antenna, your DNA is an ancestral antenna. And I will tell you this is true, because if you don't know this about me, I have my family. I have my own animals. We have our own, not only our own plants, but we have our own animals. I didn't grow up with cows and sheep. I didn't grow up with chickens. I always watched Little House on the Prairie. I thought that was really cool. Well, now we do. And I've had good meat before, and I've had good farm-raised meat before. It's nothing compared to what I have. And when we started eating our own food, especially our own meat that we feed azomite, that's a volcanic minerals, we feed them extra minerals. I'm telling you, and we all said this, that started eating our own food, our genetics opened up. And literally the ancestors started speaking through my mind and speaking through my body and speaking through my intuition, as well as speaking through my intents and what I want to call it, not just intuition, but what you would call cravings, not even cravings. But basically, and then I learned things like, for instance, learning to fix things on the farm and stuff like that, that normally you'd have to have your uncle or somebody teach you. Hey, Ann Wilbur, this is Spooner's daughter, Spooner. Those who know Spooner from Ann Arbor, he's one of the first ones, too, that showed me. I grew up wanting to farm, but I didn't know it was possible. Old hippie Spooner literally was a hippie that was not a lazy hippie. He actually he had a farm and he did garlic and all had animals, and he made money off of the hippie. So he was the first capitalist hippie. He was awesome and amazing, and he taught me so many things about living this way and how possible it was. And how happy it is and how amazing it is. But what I'm saying is the minerals that are in and Ann sees, yay. Okay. The minerals, what they do is they're electrical, so you are electrical chemical. You are an electromagnetic being, and that's why electrolytes, which is salt and minerals, are called electrolytes, because they make your electricity, your electromagnetic field go through the fluid of your body. Your body is a lazy, I know. Yeah, most hippies were lazy. They were. But Spooner was not lazy. He was the most workingest man I ever knew. And God, love him. Love his daughter, Ann. But I'm telling you, so like for instance, so learning how to fix this or fix that, you'd have to go to a trade school, or you don't just normally figure this out. And let alone you don't figure it out by just going, ding, it popped to me, or ding, it happened to my heart, or ding, it happened in my gut. Where did this come from? It came from the ancestors speaking through the DNA radio, which goes through all time. It's the Dan Winter. Go to him on YouTube. He is literally the science of this energetic stuff that you want to. This is all science, and he shows that it's the centripetal wave, or the centripetal energy. Instead of spinning out and losing energy, the cell can gain energy, and then so we can see things. There's what's called the transverse wave, which is the wave that goes up and down, and then there's the longitudinal wave that goes like this, okay? So he explained this way, okay, is how do you go faster than light, okay? It's a longitudinal wave that can go faster than light. Imagine you get like pool balls, okay? You all set up pool balls on the pool table, right? And if you get a little space in between them, or like, remember that little toy that has like the balls that go click, 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 and you hit one like here and it goes ding, and then the other one goes here. The ones in the middle don't move. That's a wave that's going through. So imagine you have a pool ball, or bunch of pool balls stacked up, and they're touching each other. There's no space in between them. You hit one immediately one at the very end. The wave transfer, it propagates through it, but how fast does it go? It goes immediately, right? As soon as you hit that one goes. Doesn't take time. If you have a space in between, it goes da, 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 and you can measure and take the time and go, that's how far it goes. What if you had all those pool balls stacked up and it went across the universe? How fast would it go? Immediately. So the longitudinal wave is if we are able to take energy, whether that's through intelligence or feeling or nutrients or health, and we're able to then stack our energy in our cell, and become more centripetal. And then you're able to become longitudinal, which is the pathway through a successful future in the quantum world is a longitudinal wave, which means it's shareable. This is what Dan Winter says. It's a shareable wave. And a shareable wave are when you get these like prickles on when you have an idea that causes the hair to raise on you, that's because it's a shareable wave. And a shareable wave is a wave that basically all life force energy goes, yes, if we do this, that will work forever. So for instance, the world that we're living right now with plastics and stuff like that, no, it doesn't work forever because eventually you run out of space, eventually you use up all the resources and you pollute everything. That doesn't work. But there are ways of things, the natural ways work, and you feel better about it. You feel the ancestors sing. You think because this is a way of being that all life does, and life that is on the Fibonacci sequence that is this quantum success, which is the intuition of the ancestors. And can you get that through food? Yeah, because think about these probiotics of your body. They go, woohoo, yes, and they love it. And they can live through that. And they can live through you and live forever because you're not going to pollute anything and your thing is sustainable. So becoming more sustainable is the shareable wave. And food-wise, what is more sustainable is learning the foods that work for you. Our ancestors learned how to, so we really suffer as modern people because you can get anything you want anytime. You can have it shipped across the world. Okay, well, that doesn't really work. We used to live where it's like, if it's in season, you eat it. Well, you were in season with what the foods were. And so the reason that you ate it wasn't just because of what was available. It's because that's what your body was doing. Barometric changes on your body with the foods and all this other stuff. And all the bugs are working with this. So if you're eating the wrong foods at the wrong time, you're feeding the wrong things. And so the early naturopaths believe all health is based upon what's called terrain theory, which is, again, all good growers, all the good pot growers, it's all about the terrain, which is grow the dirt. Forget about the plants. The plants will grow out of that. We just watched this movie. It's about these farmers out in California, and it was amazing. And it showed how they fixed the land. It was a complete dead desert, and it took them 7 years plus to do this. And I forget the name of it, but oh my God, it was amazing. It showed like they would go through times of where the health of the land, there were things that were predators that would come in, and they were eating some of the things that they wanted to not eat, but then they just waited a little bit longer, and then another predator showed up for that, and then the balance just worked out. So as long as they just followed the natural way, even the unhealth, the disease things, it's called The Biggest Little Farm. The Biggest Little Farm, you got to go watch that. That's what we're doing. If we could get funding like these people, man, woohoo! Crap that we could do is amazing, just amazing. Secrets of the Soil, Ann Wilbur. It's another, maybe it's a book or something like that. That's true. So again, it's the same thing with your body. Don't worry about the high-end stuff. The high-end stuff that you want to take hormones for and everything. Let me give you a secret about hormones. Someone's giving me like a frowny face. I don't know who it is. So I don't know, maybe Shaco Jr. Hello, hi. Starting to see some stuff action on YouTube. All right, let me get to one of the other questions. Carol actually had a question, which is I know about the QRA, which is a lot of supplements. That's one of the things about what I do is basically if the soil, if your gut is deficient, then go on supplements. And why supplements are especially whole food supplements from Premier Research Labs. How old am I? I'm going to be 50 in this August. So August 29th, I will be 50. Do I look 50? No. It's the food. Yes, this book from Australia called The Secrets of the Soil. So it's the same thing with your gut, which is when you rebuild the terrain of your gut, then all things will be added unto you, you know? That's the Bible, which is just love God with all your heart and do his ways and then forget about all this stuff. Well, what am I going to eat and how am I going to have money? Forget about that stuff. It will be added unto you because all you need to do is just live in the present of where you're at. And your present is a present. It's a present that you can open up for you. Let's go back to Carol. Carol said, okay, what is the other things that you do? So first of all, let's go to QRA. What is QRA? It's a whole heading stands for quantum reflex analysis, which is, it's based upon, one of the things is a testing method, which is a bidigital O-ring test. It's a muscle test, which essentially, I stand here and I try and pull your fingers apart. You hold them together, you try and hold them together. Well, the muscle, we're testing what's called opponens pollicis, which is the opposable thumb. So this is called advanced kinesiology. Kinesiology is just how strong is a muscle, okay? Well, advanced kinesiology is really the sense that, well, what makes the muscle work? Does the muscle just do it itself? No, it's your brain. Your brain, your energetic field, your neurology is making this happen. And so by testing the strength of a muscle, what you're really doing is testing the energetic field or testing the neurology. You're testing the computer. So this is a diagnostic testing of every single organ gland system going through the acupuncture meridian system, which has all been proven through modern science. That other thing about QRA is all these other medical systems or health systems, if you were two naked people in the woods, could you help somebody? Yes. Right? No technology, because this is the technology. You are the technology. I don't even need the supplements. I can go to a plant and pick up a plant or touch a piece of dirt or point at a place and say, is that a good place to live? Is that a good place to sleep? Should I eat this? Can I test my liver with this? Is this good for my liver? Is this good for this? Is this good for that? So yes, we can figure out what your nutrients are. We can also figure out energetically, do you have what's called interference fields? Meaning your neurology is the thing that's running everything. And the top thing is your brain is going down your spinal cord and then it connects, it's the roots that connects to every cell of my body. So nice beard, thank you, appreciate that. The thing is that what's an interference field? An interference field is, so the most classic interference fields would be, let's say you're a little kid and you fall down and you hit your chin and your chin goes like this. You get a scar on your chin. Well, if you see your head is like a bowling ball on top of a popsicle stick. And your C1, C2, and all the vertebrae, okay, it's very easy for you to tear here. And so a whiplash type of thing, if you tear here, then you can create scar tissue. And if that injury that you have at that time, your minerals are too low, then that means you're not going to heal correctly. You'll do the first stage of healing, which is you swell it up and then you put fibrin down. So it's like this. If you break the leg on a chair, okay, what you're going to do is you're going to put a clamp on it and you're going to put glue on it. And you let that glue sit there long enough, okay? But then you have to then take the clamp off. So let's say that door breaks. We have to put a brace on it, put some glue on it. But if I then close the door with that brace on it, the door's not going to close. It's not going to be the same. And so the next stage of healing is then you have to shave off that scar tissue and then get it bendy again. So you have places in your body, in your spinal column in particular, that you may have hurt yourself. But if you were healthy enough at the time that you did the injury, then you can then erase that scar tissue and then it goes back to normal flow, okay? Because keep in mind, in each vertebrae, the spinal nerve roots have to come out. And if there's scar tissue there, or if it's compressing, then it's going to squeeze on those and the organs that it goes to. So for instance, a C7T1 injury goes directly to your thyroid. It goes directly to the arm muscles. So a lot of times when people have had, say, a whiplash or had injury, you can see they have forward head posture because it's sucking forward because their extensors don't work, because their magnetic field is not balanced, and so the neurology is not balanced. So that being said, it's as if you have a hole, you have a blown circuit. So what we do is we do the mud packs, and the mud packs are using natural earth magnetic fields, these muds that literally, by putting on magnetic fields on these areas, you can then heal this hole, heal this energetic hole. Because see, all neurology, you got nerves that are literally kind of like wires. I got a wire here, and that's electricity that's going through the wire. Same thing as your nerve. Even though it's a flesh thing, it's the same thing as the copper wire. It's electrons that are going up and down there. Well, eventually that electrons, like a landline, okay, the telephone wire, they then go into what's a cell phone. A cell phone, where is the signal on the cell phone? It's these invisible waves. That's what your body is you're sending electromagnetic frequency. That's why the electrolytes are so important, because the interstitial fluid, which is this fluid, we think you're a bag of blood. You're not. The blood is only inside the vessels, and then what's outside of the vessel is this clear fluid. Well, that fluid is where the electricity goes through, the electromagnetic waves, and that's how your whole body is communicating. And keep in mind, we talked about the probiotics. These little living forms are also communicating. They do what's called quorum sensing, which is they actually are able to communicate with each other. So even the bad bugs, bacteria and viruses, they are able to gang up on you and go to the sick place of you, because they communicate through biophotonic emissions. They do light blips. They communicate through something similar to cellular, which is cellular waves. And then they also communicate through magnetic fields. Okay, so they're able to communicate through your body. Question is mud packing similar to acupuncture? Yes, but see, the problem with acupuncture is you're creating another hole in the body, which could create another interference field. The problem with acupuncture is what you're doing is you're shifting the available energy around that you have on the inside of your body. It's like robbing Peter to pay Paul, so that's why a lot of times acupuncture doesn't really fix it, because the problem is if you don't have enough energy, what happens is you can't fix it because you don't have enough energy. So the real answer to fixing problems is you need an influx of energy. So that's what the mud packs do, is they literally put energy. This is grounding, okay? Put your bare feet out on the ground and you will get energy. But people who have interference fields, like these energetic holes, it's like a pot with holes in it. It's falling out. Yes, you can keep pouring it in, but it falls out because it doesn't hold. So mud packs are one of the things that we do. Another thing is ERT, which is, okay, I can test your body. I can test your body for nutrients. I can test your body for the energy, the neurology. But what about your brain? So in this world, the most powerful things are the most etheric things. The things you can't touch, the things that are invisible or not there, govern the most there thing. So the most there thing, the most not there thing is your beliefs. Could you test your beliefs? And so the belief is that yes, you can test yourself, and you can test a person and say, do the muscle testing and say, have them say their name. So my name is Jason. That's strong because I'm telling the truth. So there's no weakness in my energetic field. If I said my name was Lucy, it would go weak because I'm telling a lie. So the thing that a person, you can test your beliefs is, and like a supplement, you can use words to fix your brain, your beliefs. And the words that every human being should be able to say without having a break, meaning, I don't really believe it, is, now I can be healthy. Now I can do whatever it takes to be healthy. Okay? Now I can love myself. Now I can be loved by others. Now I can love others. So this is the trifecta that keeps a living being. If you have a person where you test that and they say, no, I can't love others, and no, I can't be loved by others. What I find a lot in, especially American women, is they test, the only thing that they test strong to, which is they actually believe it and they live it out, is now I can love others. That's like being in a business by spending money. You will go bankrupt. And that's part of the thing that's killing us, is that we believe this whole thing, I'm a better person because I take care of other people, but not me. I don't deserve it, and I don't deserve to take care of myself. That's disease. That's disease of the mind. That's disease. So where did you get this? We get this from somewhere in your past. So we are able to find out, where did you get this idea, by how and so how do you fix this? You learn to say who you have to say, I love and forgive this person for whatever they said or did to me at this age, so I can love myself. Because it's like the Buddha said, what's really hurting you is when someone hurts you, you want to get back at them. And so you're going to throw a hot coal at them, and boy, they're going to get it. But all the while you're holding on to the hot coal, and it burns your hand, okay? So we're hurting because we're trying to hurt others, but we don't understand it, and we have unforgiveness and bitterness in our hearts, but it's buried in the background, and you don't know that it's there. Then the other thing that QRA is so if you could fix your body, could you fix your house? Okay, is your house making you sick? All the electromagnetic waves, that's the Vastu. And Vastu is what's called, it's the father or father of Feng Shui. Feng Shui is like the Chinese-Japanese thing of organizing things in your house and having order so that you walk in and you feel nice and peaceful or energetic. And literally, a good Feng Shui house, man, it gives you energy. Well, the Vastu is the Indians, the Ayurvedics is they put their house in the right structure, made out of the right materials, based upon where the stars are, based upon when they were born, all of this stuff, it's energetic fields, and it all comes together, and it really makes a difference. Well, we live in this Western society where, first of all, we're living in 60 hertz, our energy, so the electricity that we get. If you go to Europe, Shannon, hi Shannon, they have 50 hertz. Their plugs are different. And that's because Tesla got to them before Edison. So Tesla went to Edison and said, don't do it at 60 hertz. That kills people. It literally damages cell. And they go, we spent too much money on it already. It was 14 million. So they decided they weren't going to change it. Tesla finally got over them and convinced them. And so 50 hertz is not as damaging. So you got 50 hertz going through, which is like frying your brain. You've got Wi-Fi, you've got television, all of these energy fields that are going through. Plus, you got your house that is made out of materials that you got rebar that's inside and it's the Schumann resonance that are these waves that goes through the ground. The ground has energy that goes through it. And it's like dancing, right? If you are dancing out of sync with your partner, it doesn't work, man. If you don't know how to dance with your partner, you're going to be out of sync. And who's going to win? The earth is going to win. And it's going to vibrate your whole house, which is going to make your whole body sick. So Vastu is a way of testing your house and using natural earth materials like granite. So all of the old temples, all of even the new modern, like the churches. So all of the big cathedrals, they're built on ley lines, they're built on energetic vortexes of the way that the earth works, because the earth is a crystal and it vibrates, and these places send energy. They're built with sacred geometry, they're built out of granite and basalt and other materials. These things matter. What is granite? It's a computer. That's what silicone is, your computer chips. And so when we zoom, like Angkor Wat, you go to Angkor Wat, which is this old temple over in India or something like that, or I think it's Cambodia. When you look above it, you fly above it like 1,000 feet. It's a computer chip. And there's a whole bunch of these ancient things, is the way that the buildings, if you look at a motherboard and these ancient buildings, they're the same architecture, and they're built around water because water sends electrons. The ancient pyramid is actually a diamond shape, and it goes into the ground and it has water, and it sends energy, and it makes this thing vibrate. If you cut the Pyramid of Giza in half, it has the eye of Horus inside. It's the pineal gland. It is the corpus callosum. It is the brain. It is literally, they modeled it after the human being. So Vastu is a way of fixing your house so that your house can actually turn you on and make you strong. Not only not weaken you, but literally make you strong. come out to people's houses and I do work on their houses. I literally dig in the dirt and fix the corners of their building. And Linda, this one lady, we changed the plans on her house and actually had her pour some of this stuff in her concrete in this new house that she moved out of Asheville. And she'll tell you her house is awesome and amazing, and it makes you healthy. Okay. Then the other thing that I do is I do body work. A lot of doctors or a lot of alternative people, they don't touch you. So I am a clinical massage therapist, medical massage therapist, but I do craniosacral. I am an authority. I'm a master of myofascial release, neuromuscular therapy. I do techniques that is like a chiropractor, but I don't do the ballistic twisting. So they'll do the cracking. I take 15 minutes to move you, and then it cracks, then it moves. So I'm not practicing chiropractic, but it's the same thing. It just takes longer to do, but it's also, I'm doing it with your whole structure. I'm working on people because sometimes you are a physical being and sometimes it needs to be moved, right? Sometimes it's electrical, chemical in terms of that's what the supplements are. That's what food is, deciding what the right food is for you. Most of our diseases are coming from because you're eating a poison, okay? Just had a person ask about organ meat. Organ meats are amazing. Collagen is amazing. This whole meat thing got a bad rap, and I can tell you so many people that were vegans that they did it too long and their body fell apart. The vegan people won't tell you about the people that it's not working for. I am not married to any of this stuff. I have vegan people, I have raw food people, I have fruitarian people, and I recommend all of the people that eat high starch, high carbohydrate. There is a right diet for the right person at the right time, and it can shift and it changes. My wife, she was vegan for, I think she was like 20 years, and eventually it started to fall. Gluten-free, yes. So what you do is that's going back to what I was talking about the starches, is start experimenting with foods. The ketogenic diet, the meat and greens, which is beef and broccoli or beef and steamed greens. If you have major inflammation and you got a lot of autoimmune disease stuff, that's the one that I have found that has been the most effective. People like the diet for children, and in fact all epileptics, but the studies show for the children that have severe epilepsy, grand mal seizures, and no medication works, almost 100% of the time, you know what works for them? 0 carbohydrates. Literally eating no carbs. Now, why the children? Because the adults can cheat. So the children, you can control their diet because you can't make their food. So if a person who tends towards epilepsy or these types of things, or gets like a lot of brain kind of fry stuff, go on meat and greens. Try it. And that's red meat. That's going to be grass-fed beef. That's going to be lamb, New Zealand lamb or good American lamb. New Zealand lamb tends to be the better, but that's starting to kind of fade away right now. And bison. Antelope, elk, you can get these in some of the stores, like Fresh Thyme has a lot of the exotic meats. And that's all you eat is basically breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Nothing goes in your mouth except a red meat, which you don't have to be that much of it. If it's nutrient dense, a little bit goes a long way, and a big mess of like steamed greens. That would be like steamed cabbage, steamed broccoli, all of the Chinese greens. You can have all of the, like I said, all the cabbage you want. You can have Brussels sprouts. You can have asparagus. You can have, yellow squash, zucchini, these things, because they don't have any carbohydrates. One of the reasons why is because all of the foods that are not that, they can ferment and turn into alcohol, which feeds these yeasts and bacteria. And many of the problems, like I did a video on fatty liver. You know what fatty liver is? Is you get a fatty liver, cirrhosis of the liver, a person who drinks alcohol. A major chronic alcoholic will destroy their liver. Guess what? A person who has too high sugar levels and feeds too many of these sugars and can't digest the sugars very well, they'll get a fatty liver too, and they never drink alcohol. What's happening is they're brewing alcohol. You eat enough carbohydrates and you cannot digest the carbohydrates very well because your gut ecology is off. You're producing alcohol, which then has to go up to your liver to be detoxified, okay? So one of the answers for people with fatty liver, if the doctor said you had fatty liver, go on a zero carb diet or very low carb diet. Eat meat and grains, or eat vegetables that are low in carbohydrates. So what are the low carbohydrate vegetables? Celery, cabbage, broccoli, yellow squash, zucchini, but not green peppers because they have a fairly good carbohydrate load. Not carrots, not potatoes. Don't eat those ones. Onions and garlic have low carb, even though they do have some sugars in them. They have a fairly low carbohydrate footprint. People that feed on these things, you can really change your whole inflammatory system because you're starving also the insulin resistance. One of the things, how do you fix insulin resistance, is food timing. Don't eat breakfast. If you have to eat breakfast, only eat protein and fat and carbohydrates. Protein and fat and non-carbohydrate vegetables. And don't eat any carbohydrates until after 3 p.m. Because if you wait till after 3 p.m., then your parasympathetic nervous system is working, which means your cells relax, and then the opening for the insulin to go in becomes like a funnel. Whereas when you're at breakfast time, it's like a straw. And so if you eat any sugar or any carbohydrate at breakfast, when you have an insulin pre-diabetic or diabetic, what you're doing is the sugar can't get out of the cell because not enough insulin can go in. And then it becomes a habit and it gets stuck like this. So even people that change their diet but don't stick with it for like 21 days, they give up and it doesn't work because you didn't change the habit. So fixing insulin resistance is very easy by not having any carbohydrates, zero carbohydrates until after 3 p.m. There was a study that was done for weight loss. So you want to get weight loss? This is one of the secrets too. In LA, they took 100 cops on one side and 100 cops on the other side. And they basically said, you're cops, you eat donuts. Laugh. No, but it's true. And what they said is, you guys don't change, so there's a bunch of fat cops. And they basically said, you guys have to eat donuts, right? So eat carbohydrates in the form of donuts. The thing is you guys eat those for breakfast like you normally did. Don't do any extra exercise. Just live your life normal like you did before. Don't change anything. The only thing you change is 100 group over here, you eat the breakfast donuts, and 100 group over here, you eat dinner donuts. The dinner donuts, the only thing that they changed is, and the caloric intake was the same, it was they all lost an average of 28 pounds, not by eating less sugar. It was eating the sugar at a different time because the body metabolized the sugar better. And so that's one of the great answers of how do you fix insulin resistance, is just do it a couple months of no carbohydrates until after 3 p.m. So going back to that original question from Carol, what does strategic healing doing? It's a holistic form of, if I got to touch you and I got to physically move you and feel you, if I have to listen to you, a lot of times, a lot of doctors and they don't spend enough intake with people. They don't listen to people. Here's the other thing that they don't do is they don't tell people what's wrong with them. They say, they never, that's one of the things in medical school. They say, don't tell them anything about yourself. Just kind of sit there and listen. Don't tell them you were sick. Don't tell them that you're weak. Don't tell them. I tell everybody everything because that helps people. Like, I got into this because this was me. I almost lost my gallbladder. I should have had my gallbladder out, but I saved my gallbladder by doing this work. I've done the mud packs. I've done the ERT. I've done all of this stuff. Recently I had my hip because I had a disc that was out of place and my left hip was hurting, and it was, if you saw me walking around, I was like a grandpa. It was so bad. Well, and I went to my chiropractor a number of times and it didn't really work. But I forgot about the mud packs. It's like idiot. And finally I tested myself and I did a whole bunch of mud packs. Did the right mud packs. I also then went and saw my chiropractor again. And I remembered to go on Ligaplex. If you ever have a disc problem or a back problem, Standard Process makes one called Ligaplex 1, another one's called Ligaplex 2. Ligaplex 1 is for acute. And if your back really hurts and you've got like a disc or you got it shooting down your leg or that sciatic stuff, it's probably coming from a disc, and and if you put ice on it and that makes it feel better, that's because it's inflamed. That's because it's swollen. So you bring the inflammation down. Ligaplex 1, about between 3 and 6 a day. You can go up to 9, but usually 6 is enough. And if it's chronic, which is, then that's Ligaplex 2. After it's healed a little bit, and then you stay on Ligaplex 2, and you do that for another couple months or something like that. But the Ligaplex 1 is like a miracle. But for me, it was a host of mud packs, inversion table. I had to get on my inversion table and literally stretch my spine. The Ligaplex, the other thing for low back issues is go on high vitamin E. And not the tocopherol, not the regular vitamin E. You want to go on the delta tocotrienols, which is, hold on, let me think about it. It's the Deltanol. Yeah, the Deltanol is, Premier Research makes it, which is the delta tocotrienols, gamma and delta tocotrienols. It's the real form of vitamin E. It's the antioxidant form of vitamin E. And low back issues and sacrum issues is a vitamin E. Wheat germ oil too, but a lot of people have, if you have a lot of inflammation, they also have some problem with wheat. So not everyone can do the wheat germ oil because they have a wheat allergy, and it will carry some problems with them. So if you got a gluten-free person, they can't do the wheat germ. The delta tocotrienols work. And it literally shrinks the things that are pinching on the nerves. Okay, give me some other questions. I haven't seen any questions from this. I'll scroll through all of those. Pituitary glands to decalcify. Yeah, pituitary glands. So fluoride, don't drink fluoride. Get the fluoride out of your water. Drink spring water. Get a well. Move out of the city and get your own well. If you got a bottled water in, bring it in, but get the best. I also recommend if people have like jammed up kidneys and stuff like that, even if what helps to decalcify is distilled water. Drink distilled water for a few months. That will because distilled water is very hungry for minerals, and it will literally pull the extra minerals out of your body. Now, I don't recommend that people drink distilled water forever because it can decalcify your bones. But if you have deposition, that's arthritis, that is congestive heart failure, that is the creaky joints, that is the swollen joints, that is kidney disease or jammed up kidneys. Drink how to heal cheilitis. I don't know what that word is. Give me that one again. But yeah, so drinking distilled water actually will decalcify your pineal gland as well too. Another thing that will decalcify the pineal gland is singing, humming, head humming, singing in the shower. There's diaphragmatic breathing. Oh, that's singing from kind of but you can nasal singing. So just like even doing that that noise, do it where you feel your head buzz. Do it where you can feel it. Get your teeth together, and when they're just loosely put together and you feel your teeth buzz, then feel that and send that energy, send that wave to right behind here. Where is your pineal gland? If you stick a finger here, stick it and the roof of your mouth, right where it reaches that dome of the roof of your mouth, that's where it is. Your pineal gland is right there. Another thing that you can do is actually push here and here. Breathe through your nose. If you got a headache, that's a really good thing. You're pushing up right on the hard palate. And it literally, your skull is not all one piece. It's all these sutures that fit together, and the craniosacral fluid pumps, and literally your skull expand, your hard palate, your nasal, these bones open and close, and you can literally push up in that area, and you can kickstart your pineal gland. You can flood it with new blood and actually get it to then pull it out. Kristen Letson Snyder. Kristen Letson, you were my neighbor. So wonderful to see you. Excellent to see you. Can you heal tendons through food and supplements? Yes. So what's the number one thing for tendons? It is bone broth. Okay? You can go back. Dr. Axe makes a good collagen and stuff like that, but make your own. Here's the recipe for, hi friend, I miss you. It's so good to see you. Here's the recipe for bone broth, okay? Go to your butcher and get like the big bones or any of it, a whole smattering. You can do beef bones, you can do pork, you can do chicken bones, you can do fish. Let's start with just like beef bones. So what you do is take big beef bones, get like your big soup pot, like your big pasta pot, as big as you can get it, and fill it up like 3/4 full of bones, okay? Then pour water in until it covers it, until it's almost at the very top. Then into that, take your hand like this, okay, and buy some sea salt, like go to the Asian market or what, buy sea salt. You're gonna make a big mound, like fill your hand up with a great big mound of sea salt. That goes in. That's probably close to like 2 cups of sea salt. And then pour like a cup to 2 cups, Katie said bones with joints. So you want a whole smattering of different, so oxtails are good, okay? Those are jointy bones, but even the femur bones, the rib bones, just get a whole smattering, all different types of bones, because it's the collagen that you want to break off of it, but you also want some bones with some marrow. You put the bone broth, so like I said, then you put like a cup to 2 cups of apple cider vinegar in that, and you put that on your stove and you bring it to a boil, and it's gonna come to a rather high roll boil. You're gonna get some foam that comes at the top, skim the foam off, and then put the top on and set it on the back burner, whether you have an electric or gas or whatever, and put it on the lowest you can get it. And you just want a few bubbles coming out every once in a while. That's 150 degrees if you put the thermometer 150 degrees, and let it set there for 3 days. 3 straight days, okay? You don't have to do anything else to it. If you want to add some flavor, like onions and like a mirepoix, add some like onions and carrots and stuff like that. You're hydrolyzing collagen. Yes, you will hydrolyze the collagen by doing it this way. You will get collagen to come out of it. So, but if you want to flavor it, hot pot does too. You got to keep adding water to the hot pot, because the hot pot or the crock pot the water evaporates a lot. So keep an eye on that one. Start it at high and then bring it down to low. But the seasoning is only going to happen for like the last hour, because what happens is if you put all that stuff in, you can put your spices in and stuff like that, they will literally go sour and it will ruin the batch. So your flavoring goes in for like your last hour. Okay, then you take it out and you strain it out, and then you basically take that liquid and put it in like mason jars and put it in your refrigerator. I've seen bone broth at like Whole Foods. It's really expensive and it's a liquid. If bone broth is a liquid, you did it wrong. Bone broth is at room temperature. It's a gelatin. So the hydrolyzed collagen, how do you know it's hydrolyzed? When it's at room temperature or cold, it's a gelatin. It's like Jello, okay? Someone also asked this before. I am 50. I will be 50 this August 29th. So 49 right now, almost 50. And I looked older 10 years ago. I've reversed age. You can reverse age. I don't even care about this. In fact, I've had some trolls go, well, where's your hair, man? You know what? I feel so much better with my hair gone. I had a dad that wore a toupee. Kristen Snyder, you remember my dad wore a toupee? I feel sorry for the guy. Like, I wish he could have been comfortable with himself, because, like, I love myself. And I would shave my head. I would buzz my head if I had hair, because I just like the way that it feels. It keeps me, I got a hot head. And somebody also said, it's a sign of intelligence, like it's my head with hair, it would get too hot, and so my brain works, and you can see my brain works. You look about the same age as Dr. Ken Berry, I don't know, some guy, I don't know. Thank you for that, I appreciate that comment. So yes, bone broth. And then the other thing for collagen is vitamin C. Vitamin C helps you build collagen. So the reason that people got scurvy is because, which is when you got really bad scurvy, you would bleed out your nose and then your eyes and then your butt and your ears and then you die. The reason is because if you see the matrix of your body, you are fibrin and collagen. Fibrin is the web, collagen is the stuff that fills it up in the middle. Well, when you lose collagen, which is made by vitamin C, it actually starts to shrink and the collagen disappears. And what happens is you get cracks and then you get bleed outs. So the answer of maintaining your own collagen is having enough vitamin C. Some people who are on a low sugar, they can't do the vitamin C through like citrus. Citrus is great. How much is a regular dose of vitamin C? About an orange and an apple a day is enough to get, that's why they call them limeys. The British were called limeys because that was one of their rations that they got a line. I always take 60 milligram of vitamin C liquid in my bone broth. Okay, so this also brings up vitamin C. So people that say ascorbic acid is vitamin C is bullshit. It's not. So first of all, vitamin C that is ascorbic acid is made from its, so they originally made it from citrus. They don't make it anymore out of that, make it out of black mold. The killer black mold. It's cheap and it's poison. Vitamin C, now I know this for a fact. My mom she was cancer. She had cancer, breast cancer for 10 years. She treated it once. She stopped her chemotherapy halfway through and went on natural. She went on high dose of vitamin C. This was back in the early 80s. And I will tell you, vitamin C that is ascorbic acid, I've seen this in her and I've seen it in people, is when they take high dose, they do great for like a month and then all of a sudden they peter out and they get worse and it actually kills many people. Because without enough mitochondrial action, without enough ATP, the ascorbic acid turns into a free radical. It actually turns into free radical damage. So ascorbic acid, so what is vitamin C? It's all of these bioflavonoids, and ascorbic acid is one of the viable, Gina, hey, good to see you. So it is cheap and it's an imposter and it's one of the few. So you want to get vitamin C in a whole food form. The lipophilic one, which is these little packets that's in an oil form, it's also fat soluble. That one's good too. Premier Research Labs makes one that is, man, I really miss Dr. Marshall too. I don't totally miss Dr. Marshall. I'm channeling Dr. Marshall. I live with his knowledge every single day, and he was a great man. But he's still here. The information is still here. So don't cry for me, whatever. And learn from his lessons. His lessons is that don't try and do too much. Don't try and do too much, because you can do too much, it can push you too hard, and literally it can kind of blow you up. So, so ascorbic acid is not vitamin C. You don't want to do that. If you want, so Camu Camu is one that's high in vitamin C that doesn't have any sugar in it. The Premier Research Labs make a vitamin C capsule. How much? People ask how much. Well, it depends. If you're deficient on it, you need to do like a mega dose. Is you probably want to do. Now, here's the thing: is if it's in a whole food form and it's a synergistic and it has all the like Camu Camu and cranberry and some of the other ones, you don't need as many milligrams. So if it comes in a whole food matrix with some greens mixed in it and all of these other synergistic things, you only need, a megadose would be something like 500 milligrams. That's a megadose. Okay, 50 milligrams actually in a really good form, that's actually good. Okay, 100 milligrams is really about like, if you're getting it in citrus form, 100 milligrams is kind of like a daily dose. That's a good insurance measure. Okay, but if you are dealing with some disease, or if you've got some arthritis and this type of stuff, thanks for the heads up about ascorbic acid. Maybe I'll just eat a piece of fruit each day to cover my vitamin C requirements. Yes, an apple a day. Again, like I said, the limeys, they got a ration of grog, which was rum, but they also got a ration of lemons or limes or apples. And that was something that they had to eat it, because the point is they were eating hardtack, and they would die from scurvy. Literally, they would bleed out their butthole and their eyes and they'd have to be thrown overboard. So Yes, a couple apples a day is enough vitamin C. An apple and an orange is actually enough vitamin C for a regular daily dose, okay? But if you need more than that, if you have a deficiency, you need to get more than just a regular dose. So a couple months of a high dose of a good bioavailable form. Like I said, the lipophilic one, which are these little packets that's kind of like it's in an oil base or it's in a fat base. But again, if you don't have problems with sugar, yeah, go by all means. Do apples and oranges and limes and kumquats and there's a whole bunch of other vitamin C. There's a lot of vitamin C in broccoli. There's a lot of cabbage, sauerkraut. Okay, you want to get really good vitamin C, sauerkraut. Bubby's makes a good sauerkraut. We've got the Brinery. I make my own sauerkraut. Make your own sauerkraut. Cut up cabbage, shred some cabbage, mix a handful of salt in there and set it aside. That's what sauerkraut is. It's got natural probiotics, prebiotics, all of this other stuff. It doesn't have vinegar in it. If it's got vinegar, it's crap. It's not real. You've killed it. So real good sauerkraut. We've got a really good German market. How do you think of Ray Peat diet? I don't know the Ray Peat diet. I don't know what that one is. If you could tell me what that one is, I'll tell you what I think of it. What is I am? So Gina, you're saying I am. I don't know what I am means. Okay. So anyways, keep the questions coming. Okay, what is the most effective way to kill virus if one should be exposed? Number one, minerals. Get your minerals up. Your own immune system is based upon minerals. So the greens that comes from greens. Now, this is the best greens that you can take. Premier Research Lab just came out with a new one. These are fermented greens. They make a regular greens that is, and I'll do more on ERT. Okay, we'll do emotional repolarization. Okay. Fermented greens, they also highly recommend lots of milk and orange juice each day to optimize thyroid function. People, again, you can't push that on people because if people can't handle the milk, if you can handle milk, yes, milk is great. Late to the party, but wondering what to be done if talus won't stay in place and cause swelling. Hold on, I'll come back to that. Sorry about that. I can't see all of it. Okay. Chiral works only. Okay. What was the other question? I got to go back to that. Oh, so fermented greens. The reason the fermented greens are good is because they basically, when you eat greens, it goes into your gut and the bacteria, they're the ones that give you all the nutrients. They take this and they ferment this in an outside tank with prebiotics and probiotics and postbiotics that is better than your stomach. And what it does is it turns it into a form that now you get all of the nutrients, all the minerals from the greens, like cows do. Cows, the reason that they are what's called ruminants is they chew and then they swallow it into the stomach and then they burp it up and they chew it again and they do it like 4 times because each time they're adding another probiotic to it and they're extracting and they're pulling out all of these minerals. So yes, going back to viruses, first of all, bring your minerals up. 2, elderberry sambucus. Doesn't work immediately. It takes a while. Echinacea, that doesn't work immediately. That takes a while. Stay on that. And then, so I said minerals. Yes, minerals. So sea salt. If you weigh over 100 pounds, you should probably be doing a full teaspoon of sea salt a day. What's a good way to do sea salt is measure a full teaspoon in a little baggie, stick it in your pocket or stick it in your purse. And some goes in your water, some goes in your food, until at the end of the day, if you still got some left, put in a bunch of water and drink it down. Those are minerals. And what type of sea salt? Not Himalayan sea salt. Himalayan sea salt is a big misnomer. They are great big huge blocks of old seabeds, which means it hasn't had the sunshine in a long time, so piezoelectrically it's not storing solar energy. The crystals are not storing energy of the sun, so fresh sea salt is the best. Fresh sea salt like Mediterranean sea salt or the Celtic sea salt, that they only use wood rakes so no metal touches it. One of the other reasons that Himalayan sea salt is really bad is because they take them these big blocks and they have to crush them and then turn them into little bits. How do they do that? They use these metal crushers and metal grinders that have high nickel and that is iodized sea salt is There is no iodine in sea salt, but there is iodine in sea vegetables. So eat kelp or take kelp pills and things like that. Then you're getting in the iodine. And I don't recommend any of the other false iodine like Iterol or Iosol. They're poison. They show serum levels, but they don't fix your parathyroid. Sea vegetables do. So Irish moss, bladderwrack, these types of things. Premier Research Labs makes a Xenostat, which has like 4 different types of seaweeds, which gives you all of the natural iodine in a cellular structure. So, the nickel that grinds and all these other metals gets deposited into the Himalayan salt, and that's a poison. And that literally can turn into heavy metal poisoning in your body. It's too cheap and it's not good. So the Premier Research Labs pink salt is it's a part of it's a Mediterranean salt, Alessi, which is that good Italian company. And then they mix it with a Hawaiian Alea clay, that's super volcanic minerals. And so you're getting all of these trace minerals. The Hawaiians called it medicine salt. It was medicine. It was their first go-to medicine. Ernestine Stewart, hi, I miss you too, baby. It's good to see you. This lady, man, she's been through so much and she's still popping. Great, it's so good to see you. I miss you too, but you're doing well. Okay, let me go back to the ERT. Kristen Letzen. ERT stands for emotional repolarization. So let me go through it with you. Let's just be like, I'm going to take you through a session. A session is I sit down with you and I do the muscle testing. The muscle testing is testing if it's true, then it holds strong. If it's weak, meaning my name is Kristen, yes. My name is Jerry, no. And usually people laugh, but it goes weak because so that's why a lie detector works. Okay, lie detectors work because what you're doing is you're putting a device that's measuring breathing rate. It's also measuring blood pressure, and it's also measuring heart rate. Because when you lie, you start to panic, even if you're trying to not do it, because it's robbing Peter to pay Paul. You are trying to come up with the energy, so it robs energy from your body. Okay, so saying a lie or a non-truth or something you don't really fully believe with your heart and soul, even you try and believe it, I do love myself, no. If you don't really believe it heart and soul, you can say, but I do things to love myself. But, you're not absorbing the nutrients correctly, you're not receiving love correctly, it's not punk salt. Pink salt, punk salt, yeah. It is. Himalayan salt is punk salt, punk. Okay, so the ERT, here's what we do, is I sit with you, yes, pink salt. Not Himalayan pink salt, but Hawaiian pink salt. So the ERT goes like this. First I have you say, now I can be healthy. Should hold strong to that. That's fine. Should be able to say that. Now I can do whatever it takes to be healthy. Should hold that. Now I can love myself. So the reason you can be healthy and do whatever it takes to be healthy is because you love yourself and you can be loved by others and love others. Now let me say this. After all the years of working with cancer people with cancer, every single one of them is off. That's what cancer is. Now I can speak from truth because both my parents died from cancer. And I will tell you the cancers that are reproductive organ cancers are 100%, pretty much 100% sexual abuse. So molestation at some point, and it doesn't even have to be physical, it can be actually even verbal sexual abuse, okay? But a lot of times it's physical. So you get breast cancer or you get uterine cancer or testicular cancer. Usually that's the person looking at the part of the body going, that's where they touched me there. That's where they hurt me there. And I'm going to cut you off. And it literally energetically cuts that part of the body off and throws it out of the house. And so it can't receive nutrients. It can't receive the immune system. It can't have waste products away. And what is cancer? Cancer is Frankenstein's monster. Frankenstein's not the monster. Frankenstein's monster is the monster, which is, I have to live in this toxic realm, which is the normal way of a cell is it goes to senescence, which is it will go into basically kind of quiet and then just kind of like an old man sleeping. or apoptosis, which is, you know what, this is, I'm hurting you guys, I'm just going to die. And it hits the self-destruct button. But malignancy is it skips over those phases and goes, if this is the way I gotta live, then I'm gonna live here. And so a cancer cell is kind of like a bum cell where it basically says, I'm gonna eat and shit and do nothing and toxify the place, and I'm gonna convince a bunch of ones to do with me. Come join me. So it's an anomalous cell, but it's the genetics, it's the DNA that has become mutated. Now keep in mind, every DNA, no matter how mutated it has been, no matter how many telomeres it's missing, it carries an original back copy, a resonance of original perfect copy in it. It has the memory of when it was good and when it was perfect. And it's never gone. So can you get back to that? So the ERT is, you find a person that says, one or all of them are a no. Okay, so now we then find out, well, when did this happen? When did you get the idea that you can't love yourself? So then we start asking a person, now the testing changes, which is we're looking for a positive. Yes, this happened. So we say, something happened to me between the ages of 0 and 5. We start from your birth up to age 5. We do it in 5 blocks. And if something did happen, and when people, now that's a little vague for people, but if something bad has happened, like say an abuse or something like that, that's all you need. Yeah, something happened. Like I don't remember, but yes, something happened. And the body will trigger and it will say yes. So if something did happen at 0 to 5, it'll go yes. Then you start looking. Or you can go, something happened between the ages of 5 and 10. If it breaks, then that means no. We pass it aside, we don't need to look at it. So when you finally get a hit, like say it's something happened to me between the ages of 5 and 10, yes. So now we got to find the specific age. Something happened to me at the age of 5, no. At the age of 6, no. At the age of 7, 7 is a big one. A lot of times I see a lot of stuff happen at 7. Yes, that means it's true. So now we look at the relationships at that time. We start with mother and father, your closest circle. And you say, now I can love and forgive my mother. Okay, let's say that's true. Yes. So you say you got a person that was abused by a person, and it can be something like where they were just yelled at, or the parents fought and they didn't let them feel safe. It doesn't have to be all physical abuse. So let's say it's my father, and he goes, no, I don't. Well, I thought I have a good relationship with my father. No, you don't. So now what we do, and then if it doesn't go off, then we look at brothers and sisters and neighbors and grandmas, all this other stuff. And if we find that there's a weakness there, then what we do is, now what we're trying to find is what's the master concept? Because let's say it's the father, the abusive father at the age of 7. We then have a person say, I write it out, and you say, I love, actually we do this, now and forever, because some people's brains are sticklers. Like you gotta nail them down to now and forever. I can love and forgive my father for whatever he said or did when I was age 7, so I can love myself. If that's blown, boom, that blows out, okay? So then now what we do is we're going to test that one and see, and typically the ones that are the closest to your family, especially parents, those are the ones that are blowing you up, because see, they're older than you, especially for children. They teach you how to believe about yourself. And so the little brain goes, well, they know more than I am. They're smarter than me. They're an authority figure. And if they call me an idiot, or they think I'm stupid, or they hit me or something like that, they know better. Well, then that must be what I am. And so now we take on the role of doing this with them. So what we do is we find out who we have to clear, and then we clear that. And then if that's a master concept, then it turns on all the other ones. So there's more to it, but let's move on to that. So the ERT is really about tracking down where these emotional holes are, and what it is it's unforgiveness. And now you are hurting yourself. They may be dead years, and now you're hurting yourself for what they've done, because you can't let it go. And it's easier said than done, but this is a way of clearing it. Okay. Late to the party, we're going to be done if the talus won't stay in place, causing swelling. Look further up in the leg. Okay, look further up in, let's say, the knee. Okay, here's the other thing. This is a lot of times when you got problems in the foot, so a fallen arch, okay, the arch is a muscle, okay? Well, where does the signal from that muscle to make that muscle work? It comes from the sacrum. It comes from the low back. So a lot of times when we see stuff going down in the foot or the ankle or the knee or the hip, you look up to where the signal's coming from, which is that's in the low back. So do we have some swelling in the disc? Do we have some adhesion, some scar traumas in there? So what would I do with you, Gina? I would test you to see if we never did mud packs on you. So if you have a blown circuit, then no amount of exercise, no amount of taping, because the energetic field is going out of place, and so those muscles aren't working. You have a number of similar muscles that are not working because it's like grandma who had a stroke on that side of the face, and you go, Grandma, try harder. I can't. It's paralyzed. So interference fields essentially are like micro-paralyzation in the spinal column, in the energetic field, that you can plug those holes up, and now the energy works better. And then you'll see, for instance, a fallen arch it goes from flat to whoop. So the exercises don't work because the muscles aren't working, because the signal's not working. So that's probably one of the top things that I would do with those types of things, okay? The ERT, yes, and God bless Shirley Eagle, okay? Yes, so again, I know about this stuff with cancer because I saw my own family, and I saw the deep emotional holes in my mom and my dad, and I know that part of their cancer was ERT related. It was psycho-emotional related. And my father in particular, he didn't know cancer until he actually, he went into a coma from them working on it. He hid it. He hid the cancer from all of us, whether he was too afraid to know it or knew it, but he hid the pain from us. And I wish that he would have been able to, trust that you can be honest, and trust that you can, those that rely upon you, you can tell them you're hurting, right? And most disease is emotional. Yeah, so that's why I said in the hierarchy of things is the most invisible things, the thing you can't touch, regulates the things you can touch. So it's like the Bible says, is the things that are come from the things that are not. The word is a vibration, and that's what made the world, right? The word comes from world. Word and world, it only has, so word, what becomes the world? You put L. Put L in word, and now you got world, okay? What is L? L is electricity. L is the name from Elyon or Elohim, or that's God. That the word L, the L gods. So you put God into the word, you now get a world, okay? This is the other thing that I do, is I do entomology, which is, it is your brain, it's your beliefs, and we don't understand our words. The English language was something that was created to trick us, and we can reverse it and we can change it. That's why I use the word authority. I used to use expert, but now I use authority. EX cancels itself out. So you think expert means what you think expert, but it doesn't. It means the opposite. What is a better word is authority, because the first two letters of authority is AU, and AU is gold, that's authentic. Why is it authority? Because I say so. And who gives me the right to say I'm an authority? Me. I am the author of my authority. And you can see also too, I'm not faking it. I know what I'm talking about, and I talk what I know about, and I'm the authority. So I am your natural health authority. Not expert anymore, because the word expert cancels, it means opposite. Only idiots use the word expert. It's the opposite of what you think it means. So learning about language is also very, very important. That's the other things. Like I said, that's another thing of QRA. That's one of the things that I've developed in terms of, I've learned it for myself, and I actually use this in my sessions. Because if you can get your mind on your matter, if you can get your mind on your business, if you can get your mind, nothing can stand in your way. But if your mind is against what you're trying to do, forget about it. You're just pissing in the wind. It's not going to work. So that's why it's so important to get on board and get your belief system working with, put your money where your mouth is. I ruptured my Achilles and I used positive thinking energy and used my words to talk to the tendon. Yes. So I also use a lot of Louise Hay. Louise Hay, she, her big thing is just like, okay, you got a problem with your eyes. You're getting a film over your eyes, or my eyesight is going away. That has to do with what you're looking at. So a lot of times people with problems with their eyes go to their house and see the clutter, see the crap and clutter, the hoarding that's around you. They don't like what they're looking at, and so then the eyes start to turn off. You get people who have their T1 out, that goes to the thyroid, that goes to the voice box. These are the people with the mousy voices, and they can't speak, and they basically don't know how to talk. They won't tell you when they're angry. They won't tell you when they're happy. They wait for something to happen, and then when they can't take it anymore, then they blast, and then they say things that they don't really mean. So they're a kettle that blows up. What you really want, a good voice, is the one that lets off steam. And you tell people before it becomes an explosion. And then people go, well, you didn't tell me. Or your body too. Yes, you can speak to your body and tell your body what you want it to do and get it on board with you. And speak to it the way you would like a child that needs love and attention, but also firmness. And also needs the authority of you. Why should I? Because I say so. I'm the one that's riding this body. There's the me, the spirit, the person behind the eyes, which doesn't have a name. You are not your name. You are not your family. You are not. That's just a coincidence. That's the vehicle that you're running in. Who's driving the car? 1 year it may be a Mercedes. Another year it may be, a Corolla or something like that. Cars change. Bodies change. But the spirit of who you are doesn't change. It is. And that's our goal here, is to figure out who you are. Who you are. Because if you figure out who you are, then this body will be able to live in this spirit, and the spirit will be able to live in the body forever and happily and exchange. And your spirit can feed your body. But most of our bodies are living vampirically off of our soul and off of our spirit. And it's just sucking. So get the body healthy. And again, your spirit, you can't be in a jalopy and think that, the spirit also has to live in this body. And so, yes, we can do spiritual work. We can do, our religion. We can do our meditation and stuff like that. You can have a great theology. You can have a great spiritual practice. But if you got a crappy body, then you're a hypocrite. And you are not, and your body doesn't agree with you. And it won't work for you. It won't work for you. And people will look at you too and will go, I know. I have to keep doing this to myself. I go through changes too. And now I'm getting back on my kick, and I've gone through years of not doing any supplements and and that worked for me. I did a ton of supplements, but then there were times where I'm like, you know what? Let's get off the supplements and let's do real food, and let's change the food, and let's really believe in myself. And that helped. That worked for a long time. It was so liberating to get off of supplements and get healthier from being off the supplements. Now I'm going the other way, which is I'm starting to take my supplements, and I'm starting to really, work with my diet and things like that. I've been always on a good diet, and I've learned how to do instinctual eating. When I would live close to the Asian market, that was a thing that really helped me, was going and eating the Asian food. They had a hot pot there, and they had dim sum, and they would cook fish for me fresh. And I would eat every day at the Asian market, eating these starches and eating these really good, eating bitter melon, which is, most people take it in a supplement. It's really good for your insulin and stuff like that. I ate this stuff all the time. But then it started to turn on me. Then I started to get bloated from this type of stuff, and then I had to cut it out, and then I had to stop it. So, don't ever be on one path for forever, and be willing to change and be willing to experiment and start. The real kicker is listening to your body. And if your body says, I need this today, can you listen and can you honor it? And can you go and say, nope, I'm not eating this with you today. I'm going to go eat on my own. Can you be in a family where instead of eating what is set before you, sometimes that works. And yes, you don't want to be rude, but I also don't want to get sick, and I don't want to. So sometimes I'm literally with the family going, take care of yourself. I'm going to take care of me. I'm not eating what you're eating because I'm eating something very different, or I'm not eating. I go through intermittent fasting. I go through phases of people where I am beyond offending people. I'm sorry if it offends you, but and I'm trying to be kind to you, but listen, this is my life. And if I feel I cannot eat and I should not eat and I feel better not eating, I'm a very slow metabolizer and I can literally survive off of one good meal every 3 days. I can go 2 days without eating easily and just get smarter and stronger and better. I've fixed the insulin resistance in my body. I've learned how to do this, and but then I bounce in and out. I go back. Sometimes I need breakfast. Sometimes I don't need breakfast. All right. Well, we're going on like 99 minutes right now, and it's getting time to be finished here. So, if there are any more last-minute questions, go ahead and shoot them towards me, and we're going to do this again I don't know when we have schedule, but look out for the schedule. Look out for when I'm going to do this again. And if you can't be here, send in your questions early so that I can answer them. Or basically lines of thinking, and we can go after lines of thinking. And I'm really having a good time with this, and I appreciate that you're here with me. So this is Jason Eagle, your natural health authority for strategic healing. And until next time, thank you. Yes, Kristen, I was so glad that you could be here, a childhood friend. Never heard my sister used to dress me up in weird clothes in the closet. I was too young to do anything about it, but you didn't damage me too much. It's okay. All right, until next time, we love you guys, and I'll see you later. All right, bye-bye. Finish. I'm going to have to get off of this one.